Remaking the Real Economy, which is due to be published this month, is based on observing and understanding what makes the real economy work and what should be done to enable its full achievement. That is, rather than trying to apply some arcane, outdated economic theory which has repeatedly been shown to be utterly false. The real economy comprises the products and services which people need and want, but it's been hugely damaged by the financial sector, which is motivated primarily to make as much money as possible for its own members, irrespective of the cost to others. That distinction between the real and financial economies is ignored by orthodox measures such as GDP and its growth, but it's absolutely fundamental to this text. Organised money was Roosevelt's term for the financial sector of his day, which had caused the 1929 Wall Street crash and subsequent austerity-driven Great Depression, which he ended with the New Deal investment programs. That was a fantastic learning experience, and it was repeated more recently with the 2007-8 crash, which was again followed by a decade of austerity. Roosevelt identified organised money as comprising business and financial monopoly, speculation, reckless banking, class antagonism, and war profiteering. They had, he said, begun to think of the government of the United States as a mere appendage to their own affairs. Well, he understood how dangerous government by organised money could be in his time, but it's become far more powerful now with the addition of the shadow banking sector, hedge funds and traders, a massively expanded network of tax havens, as well as the egregiously funded political think tanks and lobbyists, plus supportive strands of academia, even including some business schools. The book is structured along the lines of a simple long-range business plan. Where are we now? Where do we want to get to? How do we get there? Action, and how are we doing? So, where are we now? Well, we're in a mess, and we're heading towards a whole load of destructions. We're guided by what is essentially a 19th century economic theory that over the years has been repeatedly disowned by leading economists. But it serves the purposes of organised money, so it's been preserved as a belief system to guide government decision-making, if not control it. The result has been widely documented: value extraction rather than value creation, and rampant criminality, which seems to be broadly accepted as business as usual. It may seem unbelievable, but that is where we are. Where do we want to be? Well, politicians are great at expressing fine words to describe where we want to be. Lincoln's 1863 Gettysburg Address was a famous example. He referred to government by the people for the people, while at the same time permitting almost 4 million African Americans to be held in bondage as slaves. Politicians claim to be striving for basic human rights and equal opportunities for all, while at the same time achieving environmental sustainability. No doubt that's where we would want to be, but we need more than fine words to achieve it. So how do we get there? Well, it can only be achieved by people working together in a huge variety of different organisational systems, both public and private. The economic belief system deals in simplistic generalisations, such as private enterprise is good, public bad, so eliminate public as far as possible and minimise state regulation and control. This text focuses on the complexity of the real economy, which needs to be understood as the basis for action if real progression is to be achieved. It identifies 3 separate layers of the real economy, each requiring very different treatment. At the base, the social infrastructural layer, much of which has been outsourced and privatised. Above that, the progressive competitive layer, which has been allowed to become monopolistic and exploitative. And above that, the technological revolutionary layer, which has been given too little support to achieve sustainability. So, action. Well, the text makes many suggestions for consideration in order to remake all three layers. Rebuild the social infrastructural layer, re-establish competition in the progressive competitive layer, and refocus the technological revolutionary layer on a sustainability revolution. Clearly, it's not going to be easy, but it will require two fundamental changes. Organised money will have to be constrained and its criminality repaid for by the criminals rather than by their corporate entities. And secondly, and even more fundamental change, must be to set aside the economic belief system in its entirety and consign it to history. Many leading economists would agree with that as referenced in the book. Finally, measuring how we are doing will require an independent and international assessment and reporting system to be agreed and established. The UN's Sustainable Development Goals might be a step in the right direction, but we have no idea if they can be trusted. Like so much else in this area, the SDGs might just be pretense and nonsense. Thank you.